What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Noni Juice from 101.7 The Truth, and June is home ownership month. So we already know we got to get you guys covered with some tips and just a little talk about some home ownership. Right now, I am with Dee Kemp from Axe Housing, and I'm with Anthony Hudson from BMO. And we're about to get into just a quick conversation because let me just tell y'all, I'm in my late 20s. I don't have a home. But
shame on you.
Exactly, shame on me. But I've been thinking about either getting a home, but I don't know any type of first steps. I don't know the process. So I guess my first question for you guys would be, for someone my age, I've been in apartments in a couple years now. What would be that very first thing that you would say that I should do to start that process of wanting to own a home?
The first thing you do is go to axehousing.org,
Of course.
complete our virtual orientation, and set up an appointment to meet with one of our home buyer coaches. They're going to look at your credit report. They're going to say, this is what you need to do to position yourself to be pre-approved for a mortgage product. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to tell you about all the great financial institutions that you can work with. And we're going to send you on over to Anthony at BMO.
Okay, period, Anthony. We're going to go to you. So when it comes to the cost, I heard that there is certain money that needs to be put down. And when you're in your late 20s, you might not have a whole lot. So it almost seems...
Or 30s or 40s.
Okay, we don't discriminate. We any age, and I know what you're doing. Right. But it's like, how much should you have saved? How much do you have to put down? Because you might think, I don't have enough money to have a house or to even think about the possibility of seeing it be possible. So how do you navigate that?
This is what people do. Mm-hmm. They talk themselves out their own opportunities. They say, I don't have this, I don't have that. Talk to a professional. Mm-hmm. Figure out exactly what it is you need. You don't need 20% down. At Axe, we administer quite a few down payment assistance programs, and BMO does as well. We take pride in connecting people to organizations like BMO that have down payment assistance, that they will actually accept our down payment assistance too. So we have families getting $20,000 in down payment assistance.
Wow.
Because we're combining all of these resources. Mm-hmm. We're gonna make sure you don't leave no money on the table.
Okay. So do you have to have good credit?
Yeah, good credit is good, right? Mm-hmm. What we talk about often with our customers is we don't care where you are. We want to meet you where you are and help you build from there. Mm-hmm. And so I would actually back up and just say the home buying process can be daunting. It can be scary. Depending on your exposure and access to home ownership, people are at different places. We're here to go on that journey with you, right? And so it's not just about getting you in a home, but it's helping you to build a credit profile that you can be proud of, right? Mm-hmm. That helps you to obtain the best rates for that home at some point, but that also expands to other areas of your life, because strong credit also means better rates, which means a savings for you at the end of the day as an individual or as a family. And so we take pride in partnering with organizations like Axe. Axe is one of the best doing it, period. But it's about how do we help you become the best version of you. Yeah. And we're talking generational wealth, because when we get it right here, you're acquiring assets that help you build wealth and eventually one day to transfer that on to future generations. Yeah. It's a big concept, but it's something that we're here to go along that journey with you.
Right. And when you talk about generational wealth, I think of, because I hear Sherwin talk all the time, shout out to Sherwin Hughes, but he talks a lot about equity in your home, and it goes over my head, I'm not gonna lie. But I do hear that it's better for you to have a home because it's building equity versus an apartment because that's wasted money. So can you guys talk a little bit about exactly what equity is and how it's more beneficial to have than just throwing it away in an apartment?
I'm definitely going to let our banking professional jump in on that one. But I will say the way I try to conceptually tell people about this is when you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. When you're the owner of the property, every month that you pay your mortgage, you're actually paying yourself. Okay. You're getting yourself closer to being the sole owner of that home.
Got it.
Because you're paying down the loan that you were given from the bank. So I see home ownership as a method of paying yourself. And that's why it equals wealth building.
It's kind of like credit in a way. That's how I'm thinking about it. You know, you might have a credit card and then you're paying on that, but the money in that kind of like helps you, even though you don't own that money, but you're kind of paying yourself back when you pay it, and it helps you have more money in a way.
The ownership piece of what you just said is, I think, the key differentiator. So when you're renting, right, you move into an apartment, you rent, and there's nothing wrong with renting if that's what is needed today. But you move in, and when you move out from that apartment, you may get your deposit back, maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on what the carpet and the walls look like.
They don't be wanting to give it back now.
They don't.
They don't be wanting to get that back.
But with a home, right, you move into a home and you stay in that home for 5, 7, 20 years. Most homes appreciate in value over time.
Right.
So you hear a lot of talk about location. What I would say, even before you get to location, is it's about your budget. We actually, Dee has many examples, as do we, of individuals who buy a home and end up paying less in their mortgage than what they were paying in monthly rent. And then the real kind of aha there is, not only did their monthly payment go down in some cases, but they're also accumulating that equity. So that home that maybe you buy for $125,000, 5 years later now may be worth $140,000. So that $15,000 that you've accumulated in equity is yours, right? Whether you want to tap into it from a home equity line of credit or upon selling that home, whatever equity you accrue comes back to you and your family.
Yeah.
That's why it is a wealth building mechanism, and why home ownership is so important for everyone, but particularly in communities like ours, where we see home ownership less prevalent, right?
Yeah.
We got to demystify this and help people to see this is a goal that everybody should be able to obtain if they want it.
Yeah. And it's like, people don't talk about how more beneficial it is for you to own a home than to rent. So when you are first looking for an apartment, you don't think like, oh, I should try to get a home instead. They just teach you, oh, rent, go get an apartment. And like you said, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But the other options just don't always seem very possible when you're younger or older, like I know you said too.
But listen, I want to see a city of Milwaukee where particularly our young Black folks are never renting. They're coming out of their parents' house and they're buying their first home because they understand that, especially in real estate, it's about the long game. It's about seeing that property appreciate in value so that you do have that additional equity that comes from being a homeowner for 5, 7, or 10 years. So it's just so important that we're viewing that as an option. And listen, it's tough in Milwaukee. Only 20% of people who look like us own their homes.
20%.
So it's really easy to be in a friend group where nobody owns a home. And if you do know somebody who owns a home, who says they have the time, energy, or patience to really mentor you and guide you through that type of process? A lot of times they don't. They're busy doing them. So that's where organizations like Axe Housing can step into the void, where partnering with a great lender who is going to let you know about resources. It's not just Axe sending people to BMO. BMO sends people to us. They say, hey, this family isn't ready yet. Help them with their credit. Help them get to the place where they need to be. And then when they're ready, send them back to us so we can get them that pre-approval and they can start shopping for their home.
I love that.
There's real responsibility around someone that comes in, applies for a loan, and maybe the answer that day is no. I think where we really have to shine is helping people to graduate from that no to a yes over time. And Axe has the resources, they certainly have the leadership to help people navigate that journey of going from a no and becoming a yes. And if you break down the home buying process, Axe is helping folks to get loan ready, right? So before you even get to the loan, of how you build your credit, right? Understanding home ownership, et cetera, they're helping them then through the loan process in tandem with the bank. And then after they achieve that dream of becoming a homeowner, what becomes really important is that we keep them in that home. Axe helps them to do that, right?
Wow.
So they are touching families end to end and changing generations. This is a partnership that I would tell you, it is our mission to change that 20% number that Dee talked about.
Yeah.
That number must grow, and it has to grow primarily because as we grow wealth in Black and brown communities, right, that buying power changes the game for us, right? Wealth accumulation opens up additional opportunities that were not afforded today. And so it's really important that oftentimes the largest asset that we'll ever own, it's our home. We got to put more people into homes, right? For a variety of reasons, but most importantly is because we want to build wealth in our community.
Yeah, and I want people to also know that buying a home is a way to get wealth, because I don't think they see it like that at all.
Absolutely. We're not taught that in school. I tell people all the time, I got taught algebra, trigonometry, calculus, a bunch of mess I don't use at all. But nobody ever put a lease in front of me and said, these are your rights and responsibilities as a tenant if you choose to rent. And for sure, nobody ever put a contract to purchase a home in front of me and talk to me about how important that was to building wealth. Right now, the average age of a first-time home buyer in the Black community is 40. So you all right, girl. Right now.
That's
but
sad,
that
though.
is an unacceptable number. It's unacceptable, and it drives me and it pushes me to do the work that I'm doing and make sure I'm out talking to young people about home ownership, because that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
We have to be owners. We have to own something. I'm a Milwaukee North Side girl, and my only problem with the North Side is we renting it, y'all. We don't own it.
That is true.
If it's ours, let it be ours.
That is true. I love how passionate you are about this. And you're teaching me so much. I just have like 2 more questions really quick, because you mentioned, what was it that you just mentioned? You mentioned something, and it made me think of a question. But is it true that the housing market right now is trash? Because that's all I hear people talk about on social media.
I'm sure it's people who don't own a thing. So stop listening to people who don't own anything, for one. And again, talk to a professional. Stop talking to Ray and them, y'all. They don't know what they're talking about. Talk to professionals. Because I hear those same things. Oh, interest rates are too high right now, Dee. Okay, interest rates aren't going back to 3%. That was something that happened because of COVID. My father bought his first house and he paid 15% interest. There's never a bad time to change from renting to paying yourself. So don't worry about interest rates. Okay. And there's so much down payment assistance out here right now that it really is negating the higher interest rates, because you're able to get so much down payment assistance. Anthony won't brag, but they have a program where you can get up to $23,000 in down payment assistance right now through BMO. And that's on top of whatever we give you.
You can stack those monies, right? And so when you say, what if I don't have the down payment today needed to get in a home? Like, don't get in your own way. There's actually resources to help individuals like you make that process like within reach.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, last one.
Can I add just one thing to this? And so as Dee is talking about the current environment and her dad paying 15% when he bought his first house, what I would say is let's step back from the rate conversation and let's have a budget conversation.
Amen.
Right? Like, this is really a conversation about how much you spend, how much you save, how much can you comfortably take on in terms of debt or that monthly payment. And what I would say is a lot of individuals and families today are making rent payments that would signal that they could take on a mortgage payment with today's rates. Don't let the rates scare you away from leaning into this discussion.
Right. Wow, that was a really good point. And you guys work with everyone's budgets, like you help them do what it do.
A big thing that we do is talk to you about your budget and what's affordable for you and what's sustainable for you. Because it's not just about you getting the home, it's about you keeping the home and being in a situation where hopefully you're paying less than what you were for rent. Our average homeowner is paying $868 a month. Who paying that for rent, y'all? Who's paying that? So if it's cheaper for me to be a homeowner, let me find somebody who's gonna help me with that math and figure out exactly what that means for me. Because you can literally go online and use a mortgage calculator and say, I'm paying $1,250 right now. What kind of mortgage does that equate to? And it's gonna tell you, okay, that's a $140,000 mortgage.
Right.
So we really need to have a paradigm shift in our community where people aren't thinking about renting as the first and only option. They're thinking home ownership first.
Yep. And then there's all these luxury condos that's being built everywhere, and the rent is like crazy. And I'm just like, why would you do that?
But you know what's even crazier about rent? The rent amount from the worst location in the city to the best, the difference is about $100. Now, different rental communities have different barriers that they set up to make it more difficult for you to rent there. Maybe they're saying they want you to have 5 times the income instead of 3 times the income. But at the end of the day, you have all of these people who are renting who could be homeowners, and they just don't realize it. They don't know their credit score, because we real good at not knowing our credit score, but buying a whole bunch of stuff.
Is Credit Karma good?
No.
Yeah,
Credit,
all I've
Credit
been
Karma.
looking at.
Credit Karma. There's a fair amount of inconsistencies in Credit Karma, and so we recently rolled out a product on our mobile app, on our BMO mobile app called Credit View. So it's free to our BMO customers, and it actually pulls scores directly from the 3 credit bureaus that exist. So Credit Karma doesn't pull directly from one or a combination of the 3, where our Credit View product does. This isn't a sales pitch. What I would tell you though is you want your actual score from one of the 3 primary bureaus to truly understand where you are. Again, that's the conversation that we would love to have with you, right?
I would love to have it.
Someone from my team, the Axe team, a combination, because that's where you have to start. You got to understand where you are today, and then wherever you are, our commitment is we're going to grow with you, we're going to build with you on that journey.
Yes.
And that's what the Homebuyer Extravaganza is all about. Come and find out where you are.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid. There's going to be a bunch of people who look like us, who understand. It's a no shame zone. Come in here, let us do a soft credit pull and tell you where you're at. I cannot tell you how many of these events that I do, I have never done one of these events and not pre-approved people on the spot because they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know that they're ready for home ownership and nobody has taken the time to tell them. So stop sitting saying, I'm not ready, I can't do that. Come out to the event and try. And at least you're going to walk away at least knowing where you stand and what the best next steps are for you to take to get yourself closer to home ownership.
Right. I 100% agree with that, because at least once you try, if it is a no, you'll know where you're at, and you can say, okay, here's my goal, here's how I'm going to move forward so I can get to that step, and you will all help with that.
Yes, and we're proud to help you with that. It is our privilege, our honor. We want to serve this community because there's just so much potential within our community that I think too often we don't reach our full potential because we don't have the financial stability that comes with home ownership, that allows you to say, I'm going to use my equity to start that business I've been thinking about. I'm going to use that equity to send my baby to that school that they want to go to. I'm going to use my equity to really continue moving my family forward and building wealth.
Yes. Y'all, these are gems. These are gems. And I hope everyone is listening and paying attention. I have one last question. Because for someone, I don't want to say someone my age, it could be anybody. They might own a home, or they're hesitant to own a home because they might not want to stay in the city of Milwaukee. Do you have to live in the home for a certain amount of time before you can sell it? Or do you think it would be a good idea to still buy that home?
I would say a couple of things as related to that. We have people who come to us at Axe all the time. Like, I'm tired of Milwaukee. I'm moving. I'm moving to Atlanta. I'm moving to Texas. Okay.
Texas.
Boo. Your credit score is the same when you cross state lines, just so you know, for one. And for two, that's why we bringing in the big dogs with BMO. This is a national lender. This is a national lender.
Yeah.
They don't care where you purchase, nor does Axe. We just want to position people to live their best life. Yeah. So we're not an organization that is telling people where to live. We're telling you, get your credit together, get yourself pre-approved, and you can move wherever you want. Because a pre-approval that you got in Milwaukee from BMO will still be good in Atlanta or Texas. And I'll see you in a couple of years when you get back.
Yes, but what if they live in the home? They can sell. Can they sell it
Absolutely.
after like a 2-year? Let's say they've only been in it 2 years and they're not fully.
The average person is in their home 7 years in this area. So, of course, that one of the benefits of home ownership is that you can decide I'm ready to sell.
Yeah, we're demystifying some of the things that we think about where we get in our own way, right? It's okay if you don't want to live here forever. Don't let that get in the way of you figuring out how to build wealth today.
Right? While you're here.
You'd be surprised. You looked up 17 years have passed.
And you still here in that same old apartment.
Still renting. Right. And not only that too, I mean, we have to pay attention to what's happening in this city. The city just came out with this amazing plan for the downtown area. They're really growing that area. What somebody is calling the hood right now, they're going to be calling 5 minutes from downtown in a couple of years. Yep. You go to any other city, any other major city, and you look at the homes in the downtown area, you're talking $500,000. And I don't care what the condition is, it's all about location, location, location. So as African Americans, we have the opportunity to get in now at the ground level and continue to see these properties increase in value and be able to take advantage of that. Yeah. I just want, when the city changes again, because all of these things are a cycle. Yeah. When the city changes again and people are seeing the values of their downtown homes go up, in the area of Harambe and Metcalf and all of that stuff, we own it. We're seeing the value go up. And now when we're ready to make a different transition in our life, I'm selling this property for way more than I purchased it for. And I'm able to take that money and get myself to the next place that I want to be. But I like to say there are too many people in our community right now who have Northside money and River Hill dreams. Nothing wrong with that Northside money. Buy your house, own it. That's better than renting it, and allow the value to increase as the city continues to do things that are going to increase your property value. Don't you dare think that people like Mayor Johnson and David Crawley don't care about these issues. They're putting in the work for you right now to make sure that housing, affordable housing that you can purchase is an option for Black people in this city. Yep. So let's take advantage of it.
And I've heard about it all over. It's always something about like affordable housing everywhere. Do you guys do condos?
I live in a condo.
Okay, I don't know why I thought condos was just completely different from homes. I know it's a home, but
I have a wonderful 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath condo that I absolutely love. And listen, that was my American dream because I wasn't going to be begging my son to shovel.
Right.
I wasn't telling him, go outside and cut the grass. I didn't want to be that girl with that, shady looking house on the block because I'm not keeping up with it. So I was like, you know what? The best fit for me is a condo. So yes, I absolutely own my condo. And do you know it's worth 3 times more than what I bought it for?
That could be a whole nother video of how that even happened.
How long have you been in the condo?
I've been there for 7 years.
Wow.
These are the kind of conversations though that we have to have, right? Because if we don't know, we don't have access, we don't have experts to share, then we come up with our own stories that aren't actually reality. Yep. So this event on June 14th will allow us to have these kind of conversations. There's no bad conversation. There's no bad questions. Let us help.
Yes.
Our people perish from a lack of knowledge.
They do. They definitely do. Well, I appreciate both of y'all for sitting down with me. I've learned so much. I'm about to go tell my mama, like, Mama, I'm gonna get a house.
Let's go, girl.
Where can people find you guys if they want more information?
You can go to axhousing.org. Or you can give our office a call at 414-933-2215.
Yeah, I would say you can access us at BMO.com, right? We have a lot of really good information around home ownership, our mortgage buying process, as well as for you to look at where the closest BMO retail branch is near you. We welcome to have you into the branch to have a conversation or even to connect to us digitally or by phone. whatever way works best for you. We're looking forward to that conversation soon.
Yes. Dee Kemp, y'all. Anthony
Get
Hudson.
your house. Get your house.
Your girl, Noni Juice. And that is a wrap, y'all. Get a home right now. Call them up. Where your phone at? Okay. I'm going to talk to y'all next time. Bye.